Now, the polls will open in Nigeria this coming Saturday, the 25th of February. There are 18 candidates for presidency. However, the three with a realistic chance are, and I'm telling you, you got it going on as you're getting older. I'm telling you, look at this. 70-year-old Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's one of the candidates. 76-year-old Atiku Abubakar. He's one of the candidates. And 61-year-old Peter Obi. Now, to win, a candidate has to obtain the highest number of votes nationwide and more than a quarter of ballots cast in at least 2/3 of Nigeria's states. If not, there will be a second round. Dr. Tony Agbons is a researcher, senior lecturer at Anglican Ruskin University and a public affairs analyst and commentator. And I'm very pleased to say that he joins me here on the show this evening. Good evening to you, Tony. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, Nikki. How are you?
I'm well. I'm enjoying the time of recognising that it's half term and let's have the grandkids. And yes. The energy level is being tested, but in a good way. All good. So, Dr. Tony, next week is going to be really significant. And Nigeria is already in a state of flux and major concern around the economy, as well as now these elections. So what is it, do you think, about these elections that has really put Nigeria again in terms of the world's eyes? What is it about these ones?
Thank you, Nikki. Thanks for inviting me to your program this evening. Like you have put it rightly, this particular election that is happening on Saturday, with special reference to the presidential election, is been dubbed the mother of all elections in Nigeria. It is an election for the soul of the Nigerian state. It is an election for the existential survivor of the Nigerian state. And if you will allow me, I just want to put certain things in context.
Oh, no, please do.
This is our 7th election since our return from democracy, from continuous military rule in May 29, 1999. So I would say that our democracy, unlike that of Great Britain, our democracy is evolving. But I must tell you that it's evolving at a pace that even keen observers and analysts and commentators like myself, we didn't really expect. So if you look at Nigeria, like you have put, we have 3 main candidates out of the 18 political parties that are vying for the top job. And Nigerians, in their wisdom, have decided that this time around, it is not going to be business as usual. It is going to be business unusual. What do I mean by that? Nikki, as I speak to you, the National Bureau of Statistics, this is a federal government economic agency, released some damning report in November of the year 2022 to say that 133 million Nigerians are in multi-dimensional poverty. That figure, because I work with data as a researcher, yes, that figure represents about 66.5% of the Nigerian population. So no wonder there is high level of crime, there is insecurity, there is high unemployment, there is inflation. So as I speak to you, the Nigerian society is on its knees. So, and Nigerians have said, we're going to do away with this old brigade that we keep recycling all the time. And Nigerians are rallying behind the candidacy of Mr. Peter Obi, the one you said is 61 years old. He is the one that Nigerians are rooting for.
And it would appear that, you've said they're all about that statistic that just blows your mind. I mean, there's meant to be, 7 million Nigerians who are registered to vote. So already my head's spinning in terms of how they're going to make sure all those votes are counted and kept. And Lagos as well is really key, isn't it, in the elections, because, of course, it is the capital, it's the commercial hub for Nigeria. How's that going to play out, do you think, as well? Especially if Peter Obi is the key one that people think should get the presidency this time round.
Yeah, the 7 million, Nikki, that you refer to is the voting population for Lagos, which is our former capital, but it still remains our economic hub because of the seaport and its island location and all that.
Yes.
According to the Nigerian Electoral Commission, which is called INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission, about 93.4 million Nigerians have registered to vote in this election, the highest in our history as a nation.
Sorry, Dr. Tony, say that again.
Yes, the 93.4 million Nigerians have registered.
93.
Nigerian population is about 200 million. That is why I said the National Bureau of Statistics data show that 133 of 200 million Nigerians are in multi-dimensional poverty. What that means is that these people have no access to good health care, they have no access to transportation, they have no access to good education, they have no access to even something as simple as housing. They have no access to it. So to your question, let me just bring this home. The 7 million you talked about is the voting number for Lagos. Okay? So across the 36 states, that is where we have this 93.4 million. And let me say this, and this is where the current ruling political elite in Nigeria, they are in for the shocker this Saturday that is coming. Of this 93.4 million, Nikki, the youths who hitherto before now, when you talk about politics, when you talk about governance and leadership, they're never interested. But this time around, the Nigerian youth have said, come on, we have to take our nation back. So of that figure I gave you, of 93.4, 37 million, according to the statistics that has been released by the electoral body, 37 million of these are youths between the age of 18 to 34 years of age. And the adult population who have also registered, we have those between the age of 35 to 49, they are 33 million. I'm sorry I'm bugging you with figures.
No, it's good to hear. No, exactly. But you were saying that. Sorry,
these are my bread and butter.
Yes, they definitely see why it's so important. And what you said there that 33 million, or that percentage of younger people, those aged from the kind of mid-20s.
For the young one, 37.
37.
Yeah.
What are you hearing and from your friends and even family in Nigeria about what concerns them the most? Is it the economy? Is it the fact that they're concerned about unemployment, as you've already mentioned, housing? For their futures, do they see a future in Nigeria in its current state? Then
let me tell you something, and as much as viewers who are listening across the world, this particular election is a referendum on the future of the Nigerian people, especially the youths. And that is why they have come out in large numbers. They registered, even a lot of them who didn't have, we call in Nigeria, we vote with a plastic card, we call it biometric card, voters registration card. The youth came out en masse and they all registered. They are ready to vote. They want to take their country back because the current government in Nigeria came and they said they're going to, restructure, fix the Nigerian economy, reduce the problem of insecurity, bring it to the barest minimum, and they have not done all that. So this time around, the young people of Nigeria, and the youths, even professionals like myself in Nigeria, even those of us in the diaspora, colleagues at home, they are saying that they are tired of the status quo and they are all rooting for the candidacy of Mr. Peter Obi and Yusuf Dati Ahmed. Because when you listen to the three frontline candidates that you mentioned, the 70-year-old, which many of us are not even sure he's actually 70 years old because he looks far older than that, to be honest, and then the other one who is even 76, Atiku Abubakar. Wait, these people they are from the old brigade, the old order. Those who have, knelt on the neck of Nigeria that the country cannot breathe and they want to come back. But Peter Obi presents an option. He presents an option that Nigerians really can connect with. And you need to see campaigns are ending up now. Peter Obi has concluded most of his campaign. And you need to see the organic reception he has received in the north, in the south, in the east, and in the west of Nigeria. So this election, like I said, is going to be a departure from what has always been happening in Nigeria in the last 24 years when we return to democracy.
Are there any concerns around whether there'll be violent clashes, whether there'll be, in a sense, I'm not saying civil war, but, there'll be fractions fighting against each other and it won't be as smooth as people would want?
Yeah, there are some concerns, especially